Hi, I'm Melinda Van Fleet, and welcome to the Good Karma Success Coach podcast. I'm an author, speaker, and success coach who helps women believe in themselves, build confidence, and take action. In 2009, my husband Ryan and I were laid off at the same time, and we moved to the Florida Keys without jobs, not knowing anyone, hardly any money, and we never even been here. But we made it. And now, not every day is sunshine and rainbows, but we're living our best lives. All along in our journey, I've always said that someday when we get our shit together, we will help others. So each week, my intent is to be relatable and bring you tactical tips, tools, share my learnings and stories that can help inspire or transform you wherever you are in your career or general life and make an impact. I strongly believe that if I can do it, you can do it too. So what's stopping you? Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of this Is Anyone Going to Show Up? A little podcast series that I wanted to record to share my experience of creating my first masterclass and course. And even if you're not a person, online coach, online speaker, entrepreneur that is going to create a course, I still think it's important that people listen to this podcast because it goes for anything you wish to create that may be new to you and outside of your comfort zone, that you have to push through some fear, sometimes a lot of fear, and you have triggers that pop up that you need to address. So if you know someone out there that is in that lane, that is trying to create something, start a new business, or even just take some time to think about what they wish to do in this world if they're looking to make a change in their life. Heck, I'm on my third life. I totally get it. It can be scary, and there can be a lot of fear, and there can be a lot of triggers. So I hope this podcast lands on the right people and helps the right people, and you also feel comfortable sharing with a friend or coworker or someone you know that may need some help too. So here we go. If you listened to part 1, or I'm going to actually assume you listened to part 1, we're just going to dive right into part 2. And there's also a reason why I'm sharing so much detail in these 2 podcasts. And I'm going to share that in a separate podcast because it's kind of a different vibe and different beat as far as coaching and lessons. So originally I was going to share it in this podcast, but I just think the podcast would be too long. So stay tuned for that thought process and lesson. But here we go. So after my failure with trigger detox, as I mentioned in part 1, I gave myself some time off. So during that time off, I worked on my second book, marketing my first book, working with a marketing coach, and also taking Amy Porterfield's Digital Course Academy, amongst all the other things I do. But I had it playing in the back of my mind that I still needed to have some type of comeback and find another course that I wanted to try that I thought would be just more well-received than a course called Trigger Detox. So I did a little soul searching. There's a lot of people out there talking about operating in your zone of genius, and that is something I completely believe in, and I trust the process. And Ryan and I have actually done a podcast before. Actually, I think I did it on Confident Conversations about operating in your zone of genius. And it's something that we've learned in our small business together, Good Karma Sport Fishing. It's something I've had me slap in the face many times in my life. And I thought, okay, what is my zone of genius at this point in my coaching career? And for me, it is creating content. Does that mean that I have the biggest social media following? No, that's not what I'm saying. It's the creation of the content. So it is figuring out different things on different platforms. I'm, on lots of platforms. We have an app, podcast, books. So that was a piece of it that I can help with tactical things. I can help with moving through the workflow. I can help with all the mindset issues, the triggers, the comparison, the judgment, the self-judgment, the overwhelm, the anxiety. I can help through all of those. And in general, being creative and working within your design and creating content. So I'm like, okay, I feel really solid that this is something that I can easily, because again, you want to be able to easily teach whatever is in your heart to share. So that's part of the zone of genius. So I felt like I could easily brainstorm lots of different things that I could share with people that maybe necessarily I haven't seen shared out there yet. So I wanted my things to be a little different. So as I was walking through this process in my head, I'm like, okay, what am I going to call this course? Because obviously that's where I failed in round one. So content creation success principles was one of my first ideas for a title for the course program. And I was like, I like it, but I don't really love it. And then I thought content creation success strategies. And I liked that much better. So the next step I did, which kind of was in conjunction with my learning from part one, but just a little stronger using my own intuition, was that I did ask a group of businesswomen. I'm in a businesswomen professional group, and we meet virtually on Zoom, what they thought and what their vote was. And I explained what I was doing, and I gave them the options to vote without saying where my heart and intuition was. And it all came back strategies. So I was like, okay, good. We are going to go with content creation success strategies. So from there, I started to roll. Like, it's very easy for me to think of the modules. And I was like, okay, that, again, this was really my zone of genius and where I felt really comfortable that I have so much to share, and I could easily create a 12-week program around this whole concept of content creation. So I start down the path of marketing. And here's where the triggers came in. I thought I was in a really good place. Again, like the money one in part one, how the money popped up at the very end. I thought I was in a really good place. I'm like, I've worked through this, I've worked through that. I've listened to enough people and their experiences where I felt really grounded. And I just felt in a really good place. I felt the timing was good. I pushed the timing out a couple of weeks just to have a little bit more time marketing and get through some different things I had going on in August. So then I felt good about that. So I did a little tweaks along the way, nothing major. So now it came time for heavier marketing, because they do suggest, and I do agree with this, you do have to market a lot. And it is a little bit of fear that you have to push through in terms of, oh my God, are people going to be annoyed? But I have to tell you, after having 2 books, and even if I count the co-authored book series from 2020, 3 books, I felt like I marketed the heck out of those books, and I'll still have people say, oh, you wrote a book? It just is what it is. You have to market a lot and really get through the fear that you're in people's face, because it just, people are busy. The algorithm, you have no idea who sees what. People forget. People don't really read a post. I mean, it's just, it goes on and on. So I say it with love. And I say that to help other people out there. If you are someone that's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm being a pest posting about this, just keep posting. It's fine. If you're really annoying someone, they can just mute you, right? So just keep doing it. So I'm in my heavier promotion for the masterclass that I decided to do after, again, that was one thing I was tweaking, was originally I wasn't going to do a masterclass, a freebie. And then I'm like, no, I'll do that. It's fine. I have enough content to teach on. And this, the piece of the manifestation really wasn't in the modules as its own module. So I felt like I could teach on some of the triggers in regards to manifesting and law of attraction in a masterclass. So as I'm promoting that masterclass, and I'm happily promoting it on Facebook, one of my very dear friends, who I'm very close to, I talk to a lot, she commented in the comments, yay, sign me up. And I was like, she's a friend. she doesn't count. Plus then, my next thought in my head was, does she even really want to be in a masterclass? Because she's my friend. And I'm going to see her in a couple weeks. So technically, I don't know if she really wants to be in a masterclass, or is she just trying to be nice, or is she trying to help my algorithm? And then my head was like mind loop, and all over the board. And I had to stop. Because that is an energy blocker right there, that trigger. So I had to stop. Take some deep breaths. Just say to myself, it's great that a friend wants to join the masterclass. There will be others. I have to believe, I have to trust. It's okay to have your friends in the masterclass. Take some deep breaths. Move through the energy and be okay with this. Because one of the things I really, really learned in 2020, and this is actually going to be module 6 of the 12-week program, is there is a very big difference between your audience, your friends, and the people you collaborate with online. So here, one of my very good friends, who I'm actually going to see in a couple of weeks and stay at her house, said that she was going to sign up for my masterclass. And I was like, oh no, she's really not my audience. She's my friend. So working through that trigger so I didn't shut down the whole energy of other people signing up was really crucial to do. Because I could have shut it all down if I didn't move through that trigger. And if you go into the Facebook group, if you do sign up or you're already in the Facebook group, these type of energetic triggers is something I talk about in the masterclass. So I worked through that energy. So I'm back on track. Yay, I'm back on track. Okay, good. I'm feeling good. I'm promoting again and again. Yay. So then Ryan and I are in Fort Myers, and my husband had a few cocktails, and his little chatty side of him, which doesn't always come out, came out at the bar, which was great. We met a super nice couple. They were sitting next to us. I was kind of tired, but it wasn't anything negative. It was just getting at the end of the evening. So I just was into eating my chocolate dessert, and he was still having a cocktail, and he started chatting with this couple. So we ended up exchanging numbers. They're super nice. They're about the same age as us. They're both professional. They have their own business, and we had a lot in common. So I'm really excited to meet them. And the woman ends up going and listening to some of my content and finding me on Facebook the next day. And it's very sweet of her. It was very sweet. I certainly didn't ask for that. So that was really nice. And what ends up happening? She ends up messaging me, yay, I'm going to sign up for your free class. Oh my God. I just met her. And what if she's the only person that signs up? And then what if she thinks I'm a total loser because no one else has signed up for my masterclass? Oh my God, I will be so embarrassed. I will die. I will be so embarrassed. And I am in the mind loop zone again with triggers. I'm like, oh my God, another scenario. Another scenario I didn't consider. I hadn't thought we'd end up meeting someone out and they would go down this path and be so kind as to say they're going to join up for my masterclass. And then it ends up being a trigger. Who would have ever thought? Stop. Take a deep breath. It's totally cool. How nice of her that she wishes to spend her time and sign up for the free masterclass. That's super cool. If she is the only person in the masterclass, that is totally fine. I will treat her just the same if it's one person or if it's 500 people. It's totally fine. I will be so grateful. It's all good. Work through this. Breathe. 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 And work through this trigger. So I took some time and worked through that trigger as well. That hit me out of the blue. Out of the blue. I would have never guessed that one to pop up. But see, the universe tests us. They give us all these little triggers that we have to move through so our energy becomes clean. That's how things manifest faster. That's how the law of attraction works. When you have clean energy and you're not bothered by all these other things that pop up here, pop up there, pop up driving down the street, pop up in the grocery store in line when you're waiting, pop up on social media, pop up when you get a text message from somebody, an email. They're all little things that test you to make you better, to make you stronger, to help your container grow if you're a business person and you're trying to grow. And if you don't work on them, if you let them keep you stuck, that's going to keep you small. So, as I mentioned in part 1, that I was going to be telling stories, and if there are the people out there that listen to the podcast are like, oh, that's me she's talking about, it is fully with love, and I appreciate you because you helped me get stronger by recognizing the triggers, which I did right away. That is the trick. You recognize them right away and stop and take some deep breaths. Move through the energy. Shift and reframe. Take some deep breaths. Take as much time as you need. You might need 10 minutes. You might need a day, like whatever. You might need to go running. You might need to go look at the water. You might need to take a shower. Like there's different ways that you can shake up the energy, but shake it up, move through the energy so you can keep going. Because if you don't, again, that's where you're going to be stuck. And that's when it's going to keep you small. So I became super excited about both of these fabulous women joining the masterclass. And from then on, nothing bothered me at all. Nothing. And I had several women join that I don't know. That was super exciting. I had several women join that I do know, which was super exciting. So it all worked out. It all worked out. And I am extremely grateful. So that's where I'm going to end this podcast. The group is still open, Content Creation Success Strategies. I will put the link in the show notes. And I'm going to be keeping the group open, but changing the name. So I have to figure out how to do that with this podcast. But anyhow, I think it's going to happen on Tuesday. I made a decision as a business owner. It's always super great part of being an online entrepreneur and a business owner in general is that as you learn, you tweak and pivot. So I am going to keep the group open and change it to be for masterclasses. And then when I have a course, it'll become a separate group. So that's what I'm going to do. So it is going to change names and we will go from there. But I'm excited. It keeps growing and I'm just glad that I decided to move forward. And I'm excited to share this with all of you. And if this helped you, I would love to hear from you. You can respond any which way you wish in the group, on YouTube, as an email, melinda@melindavanfleet.com. You can follow me on all the socials for the most part. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram are the ones I hang out on the most. And my website is goodkarmasuccesscoach.com. If you're interested in private one-on-one coaching, I can help you with all of these things. Sometimes you need a little extra help than just a podcast. Feel free to reach out. Again, melinda@melindavanfleet.com. And everything else will be in the show notes. Again, so thank you for listening. Till next time, be grateful, be curious, always be learning, and you know what? Have some fun too. Thank you.